Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
The dolls, hide your mannequins. We're going to have a party. Welcome to the 12th episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me as always are my favorite road trippers, Lisa.
If you feel something wiggling around your feet, it's just the early ones coming out to find a good spot.
And Nate.
If I'm not back in 10 minutes, form a posse.
Well, welcome back. Each week on Texas Podcast Massacre, we take a look at a different horror movie, discuss some news, and debate some horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victims. This week, we welcome back a fan favorite, David. Welcome back to our quaint little studio right off the highway. How's it going tonight?
It's going pretty good.
Good. We talked last time just about your favorite kind of horror movies. I did kind of want to ask, are there any horror movies, or is there anything that actually, scares you? Because I think we talked about you love really trashy, terrible horror, and then the really gory ones. So, but are there any that bother you? And you're like, I'm not messing with that.
Or is there a specific movie that you were like, oh shit?
Right.
Oh, what the fuck is the name of that movie? Was it Devil's Advocate?
Okay,
Devil's Rejects?
Wait, with Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Al Pacino?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
one of the few movies that I walked out of, and I thought to myself, I'm a little bit creeped out by the whole world right now.
Oh.
Mind you, I was also fucking 16 years old, but distinct reaction to that movie, shit's uncomfortable right now. I don't like it.
Was it because of Keanu Reeves' southern accent in that movie?
I barely remember the movie. I just remember the concept that there could be this sort of, normal-looking people with this entire background behind it that you're not aware of.
Okay.
Spooky. That's all I got.
Keanu is a master of accents.
Yeah, of course.
Come on.
All those,
it's so good, it's unnerving. That's how good it is.
All those lessons he took when doing Bram Stoker's Dracula, clearly
applied.
He didn't focus on the accent he needed to focus on. He focused on other ones that I think were more appealing for him, like the southern one. And we have successfully continued the streak of talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is good.
Hooah! So other than that, literally every horror movie I've ever seen, I'm like, that's totally unreasonable. So I just straight up don't give a shit.
But that one was just it was real. It was
you walked out of the movie.
Not that it was real. It just made me very uncomfortable.
Did you walk? So you walked out of the movie.
What's up?
You walked out of the movie.
No, fuck no.
Oh, okay. It wasn't that scary.
No, he was just saying after he left the theater.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is going on in life?
Yeah, all right.
That's all I got.
That was an unexpected pick. Love it.
Yeah, I don't know what
go back and watch it. Maybe
I watched it very recently.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? Why?
Yeah, I tried to ask that question. Why?
It's all about Keanu for me, man.
This is the same guy that recommended this movie of the week, so let's not go there.
Don't even get me started.
Well, that's right. So oh man. Well, so this week we will be talking about Tourist Trap, which Nate has been telling us for years how wonderful and great and how much he loves this movie. So we will get into that soon. But first, let's get into the news.
first eyewitness account came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent.
So in this week's edition of the news, I wanted to talk about some video games that are coming out later this year and just some random things that have come up in the last few weeks. You know, news around video games doesn't happen too frequently, but one thing I did want to bring up was the Evil Within 2 was announced.
Yeah.
Big follow-up sequel to what was a very successful first game. The big news around this game is that where in the first one they promised a lot more you could choose how to deal with the situation, it kind of devolved into I guess stereotypical
spamming the bosses
Well, you're either running away from the dude with the chainsaw because you can't kill him and you just run, or you become Rambo and you're just going to murder everything in your path.
Yeah.
This game they're allowing you to spend your ability point or experience points in the areas you want to. So if you want to be better at stealth, if you want to be better at actually fighting, any of that kind of stuff. It looks good. Have any of y'all actually played the original?
Yes, I have played. I don't think I finished it, but I played at least halfway through.
Okay, yeah, I remember finishing it. David, have you?
No, not at all.
I guess, well, let's get this out of the way now. Do you play a lot of horror video games? Or
Horror video games? No. I've always been into either sort of let's call them mainstream RPGs, like the, sort of...
Final Fantasy?
No. Like, I love Diablo. Diablo 1, 2, 3. Okay. I played a shitload of Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I did not play Skyrim, and that was sort of I don't want my life to disappear.
Yeah, I was saying your wife retroactively.
I specifically told Liz, like, do not let me buy that game if you want to remain married to me, because you will fucking divorce me.
So what you're saying is birthday present from me. then you're off the hook.
Yeah. And the other one, the last game I played a shitload of was Borderlands 1 and 2.
Yeah, Borderlands.
Borderlands was the shit. So I like that type of game where you're sort of achieving things and collecting things. The horror part of things.
So like the Resident Evil franchise, none of those really.
I played them when I was younger, but it wasn't like, not something that.
Okay. Well, what we'll do, so I'm going to go over a few other games that are coming out later this year. You can kind of pitch in whether this would be something that would actually intrigue you or if it's kind of not interested. I guess.
Legitimately, I wish I had more time to play video games, but I fucking don't because my life is lame.
Being
an adult sucks.
I am an adult.
Stay in school, kids.
I have three fucking dogs and currently fostering a fourth one. My wife is going to listen to this. She's right now taking care of all 4 dogs at home, so she knows what's up.
Yeah. Well, in this game, I think there are some.
We need to bring David for whenever we do Cujo. Yeah. Just to hit home a little bit. Okay, sorry.
I was like, please, the next time I do this, let's pick a movie that is just slightly better.
Okay. Just slightly? Okay.
Slightly.
I can do slightly.
Because if we don't do slightly, the next movie is just going to be footage of like Nate taking a dump for half an hour. Like, that's the path we're headed in right now. We are declining fast.
We may start doing independent shorts. I mean, who knows?
Oh, my God. Okay, so before this gets way off the rails, Lisa, Nate, Evil Within 2, are y'all down for playing this game?
Yeah, I'll probably play it.
Yeah. You? Lisa?
Nate didn't even have to think. Yeah. That is it. I'm in. Done. No, but I don't play horror video games. I play video games. I don't play horror video games.
Okay.
Especially since you told me that like the Silent Hill one is the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah, Silent Hill and Fatal Frame. Those take the cake. So another game that has actually been out for a little over a year now, maybe less, called Dead by Daylight. And I bring it up because it is very similar to really the Jason games that have just come out. Yeah, that Friday the 13th game. In that you have a group of people who are the survivors and one person plays as the killer. And the survivors are all in third-person view. The killers plays in first-person perspective. The reason I bring it up today is that they're about to release a Michael Myers Halloween pack. So you can actually play as Michael Myers. And I think they've announced, too, they're going to do more. They're doing more classic horror movies. So pretty awesome. We may have to have a special review episode for that because that is maybe, I don't know. Everything's so, network multiplayer games, you don't have any more like old school LAN parties and all that. Because that would be fun to be able to link up your 2 Xboxes and just Just put whoever's playing the killer in one room, and then all the survivors are just in a room together playing on one box.
Just use cardboard and make sure they can only see 1/4 of the screen. Everything will be fine. I don't see the problem is.
See, that's the advantage of adulting. That now you have a spare room where you can put a TV and send one human being in there.
Right.
You know,
Not
more
just
of this
in the
fucking
corner.
cardboard bullshit.
So, last few games I want to mention. There is one of them is a Kickstarter. It's called Visage, or how the hell you want to say it? Visage. So you know about this already then, Nate.
Nope, I know how to say visage.
Well, I don't know English.
That's all I got.
So,
That's all I got.
Spanish, or really how to speak like a normal person.
Visage.
What happens when you're from Louisiana?
Oh, you know. So this game is more of a psychological thriller. It's supposed to be very similar to PT, which was the Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro collaboration. And you're running through this modern haunted house, and you're seeing all these ghosts of all these families that I think have either been murdered or they're somehow just involved in this house. And you're trying. The point of the game is to try to figure out what the curse is before you actually go insane.
Nice.
The graphic screenshot looks great. Again, this is an independent game. I don't know when the release date is because it's been delayed, but several times. But I know they're still actively working on it. They still put out updates. Definitely one to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, it sounds like an Amnesia. Do you ever play Amnesia?
A little bit.
Yeah, where like if you're in the dark too long, you start hallucinating, and then you don't know what's real and what's not, and then things could murder you really easily. That sounds if it's anything like that, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it looks like it. And the trailer on their Kickstarter page looks pretty awesome. So yeah,
is it like Cabin in the Woods ish, where there's like it could be an evil book, or it could be a goblin, or it could be.
I don't know.
Sleep on Merman.
Don't sleep on Merman.
I don't think so. I mean, it's.
Well, because when you said figure out what the curse is, what do you mean?
Well, I guess it's going to be more. Is it all in his head maybe versus?
Okay. So more of a psychological.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's pretty. If it is a monster, it's going to be pretty definitive. It's not going to be choose how you get murdered, a la Cabin in the Woods, which is still such a great movie. I guess that's all the video game. David, so would that one pique your interest at all?
I would play any of the things you've just described.
Had you the time?
If had I the time. Now, mind you,
isn't that convenient for you?
Well, I know it says a lot about me, but when I have time, what me and my wife just do is sit around and play Zelda. Like that's our Saturday, Sunday
that
nights,
works.
or getting my ass kicked in Mario Kart on a regular basis by my aforementioned wife. That's what we do a lot of.
Good job, Liz.
It's horror in its own way. The horror of defeat.
Is that
the horror of the fucking blue shell, which I never get to see because I'm never in first fucking place.
Yeah,
I gotta ask, when you play that, are you listening to the Fast and the Furious soundtrack?
No, but that's a good idea.
Are you quoting Vin Diesel?
No, I'm normally actively insulting my wife, like a lot.
And she's kicking your ass
yes,
all the while.
She is.
David lives one shell at a time.
Good. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for the news. So we will now move to our debate question of the week.
You probably have quite a few opinions, but it's important to remember one thing. You're wrong. Here's why.
So in the movie Tourist Trap, these kids get stuck in a wax museum / mannequin museum, some museum
swimming hole / everything.
Quote unquote museum
/ store.
Like that's a very loose definition of museum.
And I definitely want to get into that a little deeper in a second. So my question to y'all this week is: you're in the same situation. A killer has you trapped. You have no real way to get out easily.
And you could walk.
What is
in this movie?
Well, as long as you don't slip, you're fine. Which is, again, we will get into all these things so soon.
Yes.
But my question to you is: of all the tourist traps you've been to in your life, what would be the worst one to get stuck in with a killer coming after you? And we'll open it up, I think, first with Lisa.
So I don't know. Y'all tell me if you consider this a tourist trap. But there's because I actually like this place. But there's near Austin, there's these caverns that you can go to and you can walk through and see all that, the Natural Bridge caverns. So I like them. They're cool, but I have a feeling that would be a horrible place to get stuck because literally you're in a cavern. You have no light. It's dark and dank and musty. And yeah, so I don't think it would be very good to get stuck there. And I guess you could pull, some stalactites, stalagmites, whichever one is which, and try and use them as a weapon, but you don't have much to go with there. It's very barren.
If you can pull one of those out, though, you probably could just like crush someone, like go all full mountain.
Well, I mean,
you go
some
full
of them
mountain
are.
on someone.
I'm not saying the whole thing, but some of them grow so that they're thin enough
see.
so you could break them off.
Like
So-
an icicle.
Yeah, like an icicle. Yeah.
There's a lot of those caverns kind of up there. I think there's like the inner space caverns. like the
Yeah,
kinds
yeah.
like Georgetown.
Around that area, there's a bunch.
Yeah, but I agree. There, you may not find another way out, and yeah, you could be in a descent
No.
situation.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
very that's a good pick.
I'm not good at splunking. Is that the
Spelunking?
Spelunking, yeah.
Yeah, splunking is something totally different in an IT world.
Yeah, true.
Don't look
I
up
thought you were
Splunking.
going to go
Yeah,
sexual
please
with
don't.
that.
I was like, don't look up
That's what I
Splunking on
thought
Urban
too at
Dictionary
first.
because I
Yeah,
guarantee you
that doesn't sound good at all.
It's
I'm
something.
trying to be a better host and be on my best behavior, and let you a-holes be the. You see, I'm trying not even cutting back.
A-holes, wow.
Cutting back.
A-holes? Oh, what a
Yeah,
bad boy.
I know. I'm anyway, Debbie, how about you?
So the only thing, I don't know that I have a lot of tourist traps in my mind right now, but the immediate thought that I had was like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Not because it's a dangerous place, but because it's already really fucking gross. Smells like piss. There's probably poop in like every single corner. And if you don't run into a homeless person masturbating, like you've beaten all the odds in the world.
You've beaten all the odds.
That was not on purpose. There you go. Yeah, I earned myself a drop. Yeah, no, fuck that place. That place is fucking horrible. And with LA traffic, I mean, realistically, you're never leaving.
Well, and you're
So you are trapped. You're almost with that traffic.
Yeah.
You're almost trapped
Yeah.
if you go there anyway.
well, and the killer could just hide out in any sort of third-rate Spider-Man.
Ooh,
or
man.
Batman or fucking whatever they
Well,
want.
the spider guy, bat guy, it's all the
Batman.
Spirit Halloween,
Yeah.
non-copyrighted versions.
El Capitan America.
Yeah.
all the classics.
Old Glory, yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, that's good. And plus all the people, the just sheer number of people that just are walking by, taking pictures, not paying attention. Yeah. I debated that as well. And Nate, how about you?
So I was gonna look one up, and then I realized right here in Houston there is a fantastically terrible tourist trap. The aquarium in Houston, which is not an aquarium at all, and really an overpriced restaurant that has almost no aquarium in it at all.
Got a few fish.
It's got a few
Most
fish.
most
That's
of
what
which
you want out of your aquarium.
Plus side on the
most of which you can
aquarium.
order a la carte.
Exactly. Because I'm from near Chicago. You go to the Shed Aquarium. It's like one of the best aquariums like in the world. It's fantastic. And you go to this. I was like, oh, I'll go to this aquarium. There's a Ferris wheel by it. It's in downtown. I can walk there. It's super easy. Piece of shit.
That's why you go to Moody Gardens. They have a good aquarium.
Well, it says aquarium. It's right off the highway.
Oh, I know.
Again, the highways always lead you to terrible places, which is this movie.
I mean,
also
someone
says.
just opened up the dictionary and was like, well, an aquarium is just a collection of fish.
Yeah,
So it doesn't say how much.
But if you got trapped there, there's so few fish you can't live on them. There's glass everywhere. It might start cracking and breaking, and then you're in water.
There's
I
a
mean,
Ferris
it's terrible.
wheel. You can escape on the Ferris wheel.
And then you come right back to where the killer is. Again, terrible place.
Yeah. For me, as I often do, I go back to my roots. Easily, those really shitty. Okay, so there's two of them.
Airboat tour.
There's two of them. Sort of. So the alligator parks, the farms where you can go and they're like, oh, here, you can pet a gator and all that shit. Yeah, because if you're trying to run away from someone, you don't know where gator is. They don't typically just sit out waiting for you.
Yeah.
The other one is there's a gas station on the way to Baton Rouge, right near Gross Teat. Also called Gross Titty from several of the locals. It's a magical town.
They pronounce it that way because they have no teeth.
There is a Tiger gas station, and you think, oh great, it must be because it's right near Baton Rouge, so it's LSU. No, it's because they have a live tiger right there
in the gas station.
Yeah,
Well, no, not. I mean, there's like a huge enclosure cage thing right outside
Yeah.
the gas station where
that tiger does not look well. Probably because it's sniffing gas fumes all day, It's a big truck stop, and there's like a little diner thing. Every time I go there and when I stop for gas, I keep thinking to myself, this is where I die. This is where it ends for me. And
yet you keep stopping there.
I do.
I was going to say, I remember driving by it on our way to Bonnaroo. And I remember seeing that and being incredibly sad that you keep a tiger like on the side of the freeway.
Okay, but don't say you. I'm not like mayor.
not
mayor
you.
I'm not
pointing
mayor of
at
Louisiana.
you. I'm not talking to you. I'm saying like you.
But he was looking
general
at Mitch.
you.
Let's be honest. He was looking directly at Mitch when he said that.
No, because I was talking to Mitch and his Louisiana heritage of trashiness. I mean,
Right. It's sad as the animal lover that I am. I'm not a fan of that. At least I certainly don't mind Mike the Tiger. LSU certainly takes care of the mascots. So mascots at colleges usually are taking.
Is that the one with the tumors, or one? Or is that the next one? Oh,
hey,
Damn.
Hey.
Went there.
we did not make fun of animals who died, jackwagon.
But this gas station using it as a tourist trap. Again, the only reason I stopped there is because literally it's like the only gas station you can get to before you get on that stupid ass bridge across to Baton Rouge. And then if you don't get gas ahead of that and you get stuck in traffic like you always will, you're dead. Yeah. So
That's
also
fair.
a bad tourist trap.
But it's
On the
overall.
bridge.
It's overall right.
The state of Louisiana. Can we just expand this out?
You could go to Louisiana, spend your money at the casinos because we need it.
Are we tagging on an extra state every episode? Like Idaho
Apparently.
done, Louisiana done. Where are we going next?
Well, I mean, I'm from there, so I feel like I have a lot. It's
We kind of bagged on Pittsburgh.
You can't say that.
Last time.
Yeah, we did bag on Pittsburgh last time. That was. Yeah, we're making our way to insulting all of the great 50 states at this rate. Okay. Well, with that said, I think y'all are chomping at the bit to really get into this classic horror film. So with that said, this week's movie of the week is Tourist Trap.
Every year, hundreds of young people travel the country and disappear. God help those who get caught in the tourist trap. Tourist Trap, where beautiful young people looking for excitement are tricked, terrorized, shock you can see, terror you can feel, heart-stopping suspense that makes this the nightmare that never ends. Something crazy's going on at the Tourist Trap.
Okay, so before we get
Did you just
into
play
this,
the whole movie?
let me tell you something. Before we ever get in these, I always play the actual official trailer, or at least I try to find it.
Yeah.
The official trailer for this is 1:50. I cut it down to just the parts where he talked. In between that is nothing but random noise. All the music in this film, those stupid doll, like the noises, and I left the ending. That's how the trailer ends, with all that weird, creepy noises. I just left it there just so everyone can appreciate.
That's how mannequins sound.
The absurdity
When they talk, right?
of everything with this film. So, Tourist Trap is about a group of kids who are
You mean attractive young people?
who are looking for excitement, lose one of their friends, and decide to try to find them, and end up at a tourist trap. Mr. Slosson's Lost Oasis, Wild Oasis, some stupid oasis. You can clearly tell my thoughts already are bleeding through in this.
Apparently, the only thing it's an oasis for is water moccasins.
Well, and once they get to this place, they are confronted by some very bizarre happenings as each one of them is getting picked off one by one. Nate, all right, let's just get into it. Give me some of the trivia, some of the stats on this one.
Sure. So this came out in 1979. It is we already went through most of it in the trailer, but it's only 90 minutes long, so it's
Thank
pretty
goodness.
mercifully short for some of us. On IMDb, it's a 6.2, a little low for me personally. And then on Rotten, it's a 46% user rating. So it is. This is a divisive movie, as I think we will see from David's look. This movie is very divisive. The director was David Schmoller. He was raised and educated in Texas. So Texas is responsible for this movie. The tagline.
Don't you put this on us?
Well, you'll see. It gets more Texas-y as time goes on. The tagline for this movie is "Every year, young people disappear," which seems, I don't know if that's a great tagline for this movie. They're really ramping up like, hey, people are going to go away that are young. What are you going to do about it? That's it's like giving up. This guy, David Schmoller, got the Texas Good Neighbor Scholarship to study in Mexico. And then he learned Spanish, which will come back later in a few seconds. He got his master's at UT Austin. I got some Longhorns here. In radio, TV, and film. So his thesis film was called "The Spider Will Kill You" in 1976, which got nominated for a student Oscar. And then this movie is actually based on that movie. So there's like a short film, and then he made it into a full-fledged film. This is his first movie he wrote and directed, and this is a favorite of Stephen King's. Like, this is one of his favorite horror movies ever, and he said it numerous times in interviews, and wrote about it in some of his books. So you're welcome. This guy also directed Crawl Space and Mitch's favorite, Puppet Master. This is the same director. This guy's got a doll thing going on. I'm not sure why.
You know what? And now that you say that, I totally see it.
Yep.
I totally see it. He's clearly improved by the time he gets to Puppet Master.
Well, that was 10 years later, so he's at 10 years.
He has 10 years to fix whatever the hell happened in this one. Anyway,
so this movie got a PG rating. I don't know how.
We noticed that.
Yeah,
we noticed it.
We got a PG rating. The score was by Pino Donaggio, and it is a very weird score. And his fee for doing the movie is 1/6 of the entire movie budget.
Which we also found out last night.
They paid 1/6 of the movie for what they got, which is interesting.
Yeah, it definitely shows.
The lead actor is Chuck Connors, who's famous for his portrayal in the Western The Rifleman. He was the first NBA player to ever shatter a backboard, and he played for the Boston Celtics in the NBA.
He did not.
Then he played for the Cubs, go Cubs, in 1951 in Major League Baseball. So he was a two-sport athlete, and he's giant, as you can see in the movie. He's a very tall dude. He was actually the ATF, so the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms Bureau spokesman in the early 70s. And he has a Hollywood star that if David ever gets trapped there, he can go see.
Piss on that.
So I think everyone probably noticed Tanya Roberts, Midge from That 70s Show, was one of the female characters.
Becky with the tube top.
Yep, Becky with the tube top. And obviously she was in Beastmaster, View to a Kill, and Bond, and she was the last original Charlie's Angel as well. Yep. And then I guess the last thing is I could not find the budget or box office for this movie. They're probably very low. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre art director also did this movie's art direction as well. And you can kind of see a lot of similarities, like the mask and like the creepiness of the house. It kind of has a similar, not as good vibe than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So yeah.
So I know you couldn't find the budget, but I did read that it was only 24 days of filming.
Oh yeah, I mean, if 1/6 of the budget goes to that guy's music, it had to be low.
And you know,
they didn't pay him that much.
I really hope he got that money. He clearly got that money up front.
Yeah.
So the PG rating is interesting, and I guess one thing I noticed, the minute I really expect this to be like a normal 80s era horror film, very the minute they got into the where they're like, oh, let's go skinny dip, I'm like, all right, well, so this is happening. And then it didn't happen.
But this is 79. Well, this is earlier.
Oh yeah, 79. Well,
it's a little before. You're
leading right in. Yeah,
but two things about that. One that I read, and because we can't get enough of Dracula references, apparently the reason there was no nudity in this is because when they hired the actresses, they did not put that in their contracts. And when they got to the lagoon scene, the director asked them, he's like, hey, so how about we throw a little nudity in here? And all of them said, no, we're good.
Nah.
So that's one thing. And then the other thing is apparently the director was upset with the rating because he wanted an R rating. He's like, I feel like we would have gotten way more people to come had it been
it's like,
R and not PG.
Young people disappear every year. There's a horrible killer. Rated PG.
Bring your kids.
Yeah, bring your kids. They like dolls. Hey, kids like dolls. Come on.
Oh, man.
And then, anyway, and then the last thing is the studio, when they released this, that Pino Donaggio guy's musical choices were not well received. They basically said, "Hey, give me a synth Halloween score," and this guy was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna go with
do what I want.
I'm gonna go with weird like chime sounds and female vocals in the background of mannequins moving." That's my
but
whole
let's
strategy.
be honest. That's probably the best part of the movie. Is
Oh,
actually
yeah.
the score.
This
It's
movie
fantastic.
is extremely interesting. A lot of personality. It's not like a schlocky 80s thing. It's different. And I think some of us like the differences more than others.
Well, I will say this: when I was kind of looking at some of the reviews to see if I missed something, a lot of it I do feel was a little bit of a nostalgia thing, because most of the reviews I read, everyone was like, "Oh, I remember watching this as a kid. It was awesome. It was like the best slasher flick. It was this. Most everyone had seen it long ago when they're young, when they were kids, or early mid '80s kind of kids were all watching it, and so I think." If you hadn't seen it up until before today,
I think it holds up so well.
It does not.
All right, so
the telekinesis is holding it up.
So overall impressions, Nate. I'm gonna let you lead off. Overall impressions. Of the
I
film.
kind of liked it a lot.
What about it do you? I mean,
Sure.
because you've talked about this movie in
Yeah.
particular. You've listed up there as one of your absolute favorites.
Okay. I don't know if it's some of my absolute favorites, but it's one of my more. It's very interesting,
okay.
and I like it. The music in the audio choices everywhere is ridiculous, and I think it's off kilter and awesome.
Yep.
Plaster Face, as he was called by the production crew, and our lovely Davey Gaga song earlier in the episode. I think that his masks are very creepy. The mannequins are creepy. The dolls are creepy. He's a big lumbery dude. That's kind of creepy. It's got a lot of good things going for it. Once people start acting and talking, it kind of goes down a little bit. But the visuals and the music I like a lot.
David, overall impressions.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
So actually, I'm gonna start the total humble brag, but I gotta sneak this in because I was actually surprised when you brought it up. Fellow Good Neighbor Scholarship recipient over here.
Oh,
Nice.
Does that
Good
increase your opinion of the movie?
It does not. It actually lowers my opinion.
I said this is Texas's fault. I'm telling you.
OPAR RTF department, which is supposed to be pretty good,
yeah.
but fuck this guy. That's all I got.
They clearly cleaned up their act in the last 40 years.
One would hope. One would hope. What? By the way, what the fuck is a student Oscar? Is that like awarded
a Student Academy Award? Yeah, that's like a thing. I didn't know that either. But
Wait, is that like a thing like across the entire country, or like UT has its own?
No. It's across the country.
Okay.
Nominated.
I did not.
Okay.
Yep.
know about
That sounds legit.
That does not sound legit at all. Anywho, this movie, I have nothing. It was an hour and a half of my life that moved very slowly with very few interesting things happening. It's another one of those movies where you're like, hey, this is the point in the movie where some interesting things could happen. But no, it's all pretty.
What was your favorite part? Like what was the biggest positive for you?
I got nothing.
Nothing?
I mean, maybe at the very when the dude gets a pipe through through his back, that's somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
And the blood is literally dripping out of the pipe.
Yeah,
the pipe is like a nice it's got a nice point to it, and then it's like kind of
right, and you can't hear him screaming, but the blood is dropping out of the back, and you're like, "What's that noise?" Like, "Oh, that's actually his blood just dropping." I was okay with that.
I wrote "Death by Psychic Inanimate Carbon Rod." Yeah.
The only other part I enjoyed, and we talked about this quote earlier, is when he starts actually revealing some of what's actually happening. He says literally, "They were whoring behind my back," referring to his brother and his wife at the time.
And he says, "The law allows me to kill them."
And this is the note that I made, just to reference the last episode. He's like, "It's my legal right," and I'm like, that's either Texas or Idaho. Those are the only two states in which you think that way.
What was the Idaho state laws 35 years ago? I feel like this could
what
be
laws?
Okay. Per our fan feedback, I'm gonna try to keep y'all away from talking about Idaho too much. We had 3 angry letters about that. Most of them from David's in-laws.
all written by potatoes.
Well, they all did come with a potato, and as an Irishman, I was happy with that.
Am I the only one who confused Idaho and Iowa for like the longest time?
No.
No? Because being foreign,
I'm from the Midwest.
Basically, the Midwest is all one blob on the map.
Being foreign, I showed up and I was like, yeah, Iowa potatoes. And they're like, no. That's not what grows in Iowa. That's Idaho. Iowa would be corn.
All right, Lisa.
Lisa, yeah, your overall thoughts.
Remember, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Well, this will be a short podcast.
Yeah, wrap it up and go home.
And thank you all for listening.
So I guess my question is, when can I have Nate committed? Because
I'm committed to this movie.
I agree with David. This is an hour and a half. I will never get back. I was not a fan.
Yeah, this movie was hot garbage.
Wait, hold on. What about the psychic, the telekinesis? What did everyone think about that?
Like the last movie we talked that I was here for, right? Like, can I get some explanation? Like, this motherfucker has telekinesis power, but I never understand why.
Okay,
like, there's this there's also the puppets, which I can understand. Maybe his brother was really good at setting up big, but where the fuck did the telekinesis come from? And like,
so let's talk about Mr. Slauson. So his name's Mr. Slauson.
Yeah,
he is the antagonist of this film. And yeah, my question really too, besides as well as that, because I also have that question, is if you have psychic telekinetic powers, are mannequins really the wagon you want to hitch yourself to? Mannequins they don't have a whole wide range of motion. In fact, when they do attack, they just fall over on people. And
also, that was one of the modes of killing people, was just dropping a bunch of them on a person.
Yeah, and they're not that heavy. If anyone has ever worked in retail, I don't know what maybe he's using concrete instead of plaster. Also, probably makes sense. I don't think he knows what he's doing.
Well, no, it's all it's all people's actual bodies that he's collected over time. So maybe they're more heavy. I don't know.
All right, the only I forgot, that is maybe the part I enjoyed the most in the movie was when he kills that girl by covering her in plaster.
Yeah, and her heart explodes from fear.
Okay, the heart explodes.
Okay, remove that part.
Not suffocating from lack of air.
Right. Everything he's talking about, how she's gonna that's all bullshit. But the fact that he actually killed someone by covering her in plaster, that's actually kind of cool.
So let's not leave out that Slauson has left 2 claims on here. One medical, one legal. That covering you in plastic will cause your heart to stop in fear. Not that you're suffocating. And that it's legal to kill your spouse if they are whoring or with your brother. It is very clear that it's brother. I feel like that's a distinction. If it's whoring with anyone else, I guess that's fine. It's just when it's the brother. Maybe
it's like a maiming. You can't kill. You can only maim or something.
Right.
For this guy.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so I have a rebuttal to the saying, if you're psychic, why do you do all these things? If you're psychic, it's too easy. You're trying to challenge yourself. You need like a mannequin doll Rube Goldberg machine to try to kill somebody.
He conveniently forgets that he has this ability about 5 times in this film. Like, why are you even chasing them?
He's trying to do it without cheating.
That would go to Nate's point, though. He's trying to keep it interesting.
Yeah, he's trying to keep it interesting.
Why go easy?
I guess
he doesn't see people very often. What's the fun of killing him right away?
That's fair. If they're all going off the highway, that's fair. I will give you that.
And luckily for him, all of the characters decide to stay in one room,
right,
and then leave individually throughout the movie.
Yes.
Very smart.
Okay, so Slauson, tell me overall impression though, as the character, his abilities. What did you think about the character of Mr. Slauson?
Oh, what do you mean?
He's full scene.
Okay, so in the context of other horror, like where would you stack him as a slasher horror movie villain, like a killer?
I mean, he was a good villain. Mm-hmm. He. I mean, as much as I didn't like this movie, he himself was a good villain, and in so much in the fact that it's very almost Psycho-esque, right? Because he's playing these two characters going back and forth, and it's got that split personality thing going on. So that was well done.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought the Psycho because he's very Norman Bates-esque. But I thought he was one of the bright spots. Like, his acting and that character was actually one of the bright spots of the film, which did not have many. But I thought he at least... whereas I saw the twist coming, I wasn't like, I didn't think it was stupid. It's a 40-ish year old movie.
Did you realize that Slauson walked with a limp, but then Davey didn't?
Yes.
Did you guys notice that?
I did not.
Yeah, that was kind of like the subtle thing. Like, ooh, it's not a different guy because he's limping all the place. He's too slow. He couldn't chase after him, and then it's like, nah, the limp is no problem.
I've been to this dance enough times to know how it's going to play out.
I mean, I knew that's how it was going to play out. I didn't notice the limp.
Yeah, I noticed the limp.
They tried to make it, distinguish him so it was more of a shock.
And like I said, we've had 40-some years of movies that have had similar twists. And post Psycho, you just are trained to just assume, that's him.
Yeah, but I mean, the twist. The twist.
I have not seen anyone here, and I'm going to assume that it's you, creepy dude with a gun, sneaking up on people.
The thing is, they bury the good twist. The good twist is that he has telekinesis. Yeah. They kind of bury the awesome part of this guy. They should have had him slash people in the beginning and then use the telekinesis later and be like, oh shit, that's how we did things. But they used it for like a 7-minute kill scene for one person, and where everything gets thrown at him, it all misses except one rod.
You're right. Like they diluted it over the entire movie, where it's never really that impressive because you're like, okay, so he can. Okay, I guess that's cool.
And they needed a better sound effect for like when the telekinesis happened. They needed like a cool like a. Yeah, exactly. Yes, thank you.
Sorry, too much Star Trek.
No, that was good. It was good.
So that was Mr. Slauson. Now let's talk about the main kids, that get murdered.
They're the worst.
Straight up. So there's Molly, who is the final girl.
She is the virgin-y, uptight one.
Because she's the only one that's wearing like full body length clothing, and that's always her hit. She's in white, full body length clothing. Boom. I was like, that's your survivor.
And then
at the beginning of the movie, we actually made like Liz and I made a bet, like, okay, is who's gonna survive? And I said no one's gonna survive. They're all gonna die. It's just like, nope, bitch in white. Her words, bitch in white is gonna live.
Bitch in white's gonna live, exactly.
Truer words than and she did.
Now, Lisa, did your prediction take a hit when she got convinced to go skinny dipping in about 5 seconds?
When she did what? I didn't understand.
She got convinced to go skinny dipping with all the other girls. It didn't take very long. You're like, ooh, maybe.
Yeah,
not,
they did talk her into that pretty quickly.
I started to. I was like, oh shit, maybe not. Maybe. Yeah. I started slipping to David's. Like, oh, maybe they're all dying.
Yeah.
So besides Molly, there's her, I assume, friends. There's no real backstory around any of these people, so who knows how they actually know each other.
Some people are dating, some people aren't.
Right.
Who knows?
There's Eileen and Becky. Yeah. And then and for the first part of the movie, I didn't know the difference between the two. And then there's Jerry and Woody.
Now, the males are indistinguishable from each other. I could barely tell. Jerry was the last one.
Well, Woody just died early, so you didn't have to worry. You only had Jerry to worry about. Woody's the first to go, and that's who they end up trying. That's how they get in this situation because they're trying to find what happened to him.
Yeah.
Even though I think it was because Eileen just pretty much said, "Yeah, you go off and figure this out." And my question was, why didn't they just wait for the other car to come up?
If they knew they were friends behind them?
Why? I don't know where a gas station is. Let me just take a random tire that has no air and just see if I can find something. When my friends are somehow behind us because we're all going the same place, just wait for the car to come.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that they actually didn't know that this is a freeway between two places that this group of friends tends to frequent somehow, and so
they didn't explain whatever it was. Yeah, I got lost.
Okay, so you're on the highway, something happens, you break down. They go to a place that has a sign that says, "Oh, we're going to the Oasis thing," and then there's a sign after that sign that says "Closed to the public." Why is the "Closed to the public" sign after the sign for the place itself? I feel like the Slauson guy is just bad at managing things.
Well, I think you're right. He's trying to make it complicated. I mean, he really wants to see who's dedicated to dying today.
Yeah,
and these kids were.
You saw the sign. I get to watch you skinny dip. All right, now, Lisa, I have a question for you. After Slaussen's monologue about how highways are terrible, did your mind change about highways?
He says it like 10 times.
I know.
He's like, then the government built the highway, and now everyone's using the highway. The highway destroyed my life.
The highway gave my wife cancer. The highway brought my brother to our house, and then he whored behind the back with my wife. It's like the highway's fault.
No, it doesn't.
You're still pro highway.
Yeah, come on. If it gets me past that guy, yes.
Yeah, this isn't making anyone want to be anti-highway.
Yeah,
That's the same thing with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Really, any of these. It's like, why ever take a back road at this point? There's a reason highways exist.
I mean, holy shit, I don't know if you've driven through Arkansas, but it's one of those states where even getting a block off the highway really makes you question, like, your life.
Oh, yeah. There was one time when we were going from up north and we were going to Destin, Florida for spring break. And on the way, we were in Alabama and it rained. It was blizzarding like when we left, and then it rained a lot. And apparently we went through too high of water and it got underneath our car, and our car started to like sputter.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh my God.
Here.
We are literally like, I can hear the banjos in the distance. Like as we're slowing down to get to the gas station. I'm like, no, I do not. Luckily we stopped and we were quickly able to go again. But I was like, like, just go, just drive.
I always tell the story of stopping in Friendship, Arkansas with Nick Kent. We were driving to Bonnaroo, and we stopped to get gas in Friendship, Arkansas. And let me tell you what, it did not look like a friendly place. Not for brown people. I mean, it was.
That's implied. That's implied. That's implied in that part of Arkansas.
So we pulled off the highway into this gas station, and it was one of those situations where like you look around and you realize there's no noise somehow. Like there's nothing making noise for like miles around you. The only gas station has boarded up windows, but it's open. You know, and you're just like,
how many mannequins were in this place?
Probably several. We ventured nowhere near it. Like we immediately just went like, okay, this is not even safe to stop to put gas in the car. Get back in the car. Let's leave like right now. We also stopped in Gooper, Arkansas. That was a more racially charged stop.
Oh my God! Wow.
So
add Arkansas to the list.
No more traveling, David.
Man. Anyway, back to this movie. Shit. Okay, so who is your favorite non-last final girl character? I like Becky. She had some spunk. Midge from that 70s show.
Yeah, I'd say Becky.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
Becky.
Wait, are we saying she had spunk, or are we saying she had a nice tube top on?
Well, no, but she was like the one who fought back the most of anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. She's talking shit. She was like, "Hey, I'm not taking your crap. I mean, I'm tied up, but no." If she was getting fed soup, she would have like resisted.
I found myself only actively rooting for Eileen to get murdered. In what was the slowest death in any horror movie I've ever seen.
Yes.
At no point did she try to just grab the scarf or whatever, and just take it off before it just started choking her.
It's like
Eileen is the one that went, if I don't come back in 10 minutes, form a posse. And I immediately went like, fuck you. I am not looking for your dumb shit ass.
Well, and that's why in the beginning it was good that you questioned if they were friends or not, because that Molly's just like, I'm not helping anybody. Like, I am the worst friend ever.
Yeah.
Like she decides like, hey, I'm gonna start like having a backbone after everyone's dead. Then I'm gonna start figuring shit out.
What about you, Lisa? Is there anyone you were either actively rooting against or rooting for in this film?
I mean, eventually you start rooting for Mr. Slaussen because it's just like, let's end this.
You know what? They deserved it. Yeah. They were driving crappy cars.
It's just one bad decision after another. And I know that's what drives these horror movies, but it's like, come on, guys, get it together.
So let's now that we've introduced the characters, let's talk about the location. Because I mean, you know, the ingredients for any horror movie are, here's your shitty characters that you're usually in slasher films, particularly. It's here's the people you're looking forward to seeing die, because you don't really ever want to like any of them half time, except for the one they want you to like. Here's your villain. Here's how they can kill you, and then here's the location.
Yeah,
it's like a really shitty version of Clue. In this case, it is what is essentially called a museum although there's not really much of a museum. There's a little Wild West room with his dead wife in a in memoriam section.
Yeah.
There is a big ass house where all of the attraction is. So I don't know why none of that shit's not in the museum.
Well, that's where he works on it, and then only the best of the best goes into the
No,
museum.
well.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Well, that it's not coming across. And then of course there's the watering hole with the water moccasins.
Yeah.
Which again I think played to what I was saying about the gator farms, earlier. I think they were trying to get to that point, like, if you run around, you might get bitten by a snake, which would have been a cool way for one of them to die. Actually,
So I guess
would have actually upped the stakes a little, because then you're like, oh great, these people aren't just stupid and can't figure out how to run all of a sudden. It's that snakes are attacking them.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
At some point in time in the movie, Molly's running away not from Mr. Slauson, from what's
Davey.
From Davey.
Davey.
And she runs into that pond, into that watering hole. Like,
Yeah.
that's her strategy, is I'm going to go to the place in which I'm the least mobile. Like, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Why?
I like that we were gifted with not one, but two slips. Because usually in horror movies, one person, and it's always like, I mean, these are pretty back to back. Like, everyone just slips running around in this field.
So Tanya Roberts, Becky, she did her running away scene where she tripped, actually barefoot, and like her feet were actually bleeding.
Yeah, she said she thought it would add to her reaction of being terrified.
Yeah, it's like I really am bleeding. So there's that. Okay, so I have to do a full disclosure here. My wife has an aunt who her entire house is full of dolls. So this adds a little creepiness to me. So basically, all right, so you go in their house and you're like, okay, here's a kitchen.
No.
And then you go into every other room and it is 100% full of dolls.
Now, are there dolls of you guys there?
No.
Sorry, what type of...
Maybe
what
now.
type,
I don't know.
what type of dolls?
No, like all kinds. So she like
Does
buys
she
and
make
sells-
these dolls?
Yeah, she buys them, repairs them, resells
Does she use
them.
real human hair?
I don't. I really should have asked these questions of myself before I started the story. No, it is creepy as shit. It's just like whole bedrooms, multiple bedrooms dedicated to only dolls, all looking at one direction at you.
Nate, when you go to visit, does she insist that you use the moisturizer? Is there lotion left as a guest
Amenity?
I'm sorry, how many times have you been to this place?
Like once or maybe twice.
Did you sleep there?
No. What? Why would I ever do that?
Oh, thanks for coming to visit. You get the doll room.
I would rather go to this wax museum than
Okay,
sleep
so
there.
how long do you spend in this house?
I mean, I don't know. It felt like a long time, but it probably wasn't that long.
Was there a well in the back workshop area?
I'm telling you though, it is very creepy. So it's like themed rooms, all right? So like, here's like the Wizard of Oz section, and here's like the Raggedy Ann looking ones.
Is
and,
she charging admission?
Here are the porcelain ones. Like, it's like ridiculous.
But like, does she plan to start a doll museum and charge admission, or? Because you said she's reselling some of them, right? That she restores.
And I think, she likes them, and I think it's like fairly lucrative to like fix them up and resell them and stuff.
That's
but
interesting.
I'm just saying, as an outside bystander who's not into that world, it is creepy.
There's no way she's seen Annabelle. There's no way she's seen Chucky. There's no.
She's probably like fixing them up and like, oh yeah, this, people want to buy this one. That's so weird. Why is that? She like sells it out. Yeah. Who knows? But anyway, so that adds to the creepiness factor for me personally of this movie.
And that, you see, that helps explain a few things about your rating here. So overall, I guess for everyone else about this location, this premise, what are your thoughts around just how they all meet up? You know, that whole first few, like the introductory 30 minutes of this movie where they're at the watering hole and he stumbles on them. Anything? I mean, this guy essentially walks up on them while they're all naked with a shotgun.
Yeah, how tall is this guy? He's like 6'6" or something, and he's sneaking up on everyone all the time.
And then just like, oh, cool. Well, your car is broken. Why don't you come ride with me up to my house and just stay there while I get my tools? Not, oh, let me go get my tools and bring them back to the car that I need to work on.
No, there's snakes about. You don't want to take any chances.
They've already danced with the snakes at this point. At some point you're just like,
Yeah, and that's where I was like, to your point earlier, I feel like if you have this giant house that is part of this story, why not bypass all these other shitty locations where things could be happening and just make everything take place in this giant house where things get a lot more confusing. Mm-hmm. You know, things get a lot more interesting, a lot more space, a lot of more.
Well, there's not a lot more space because it's all filled with mannequins.
Yeah, but that in and of itself, exactly, that in and of itself is fucking creepy. Like you walk, you're like, oh, this beautiful giant house, and then you walk inside and it's covered in exactly the experience that Nate went through.
Yeah, except bigger. These
but
are even
bigger,
larger.
with more dolls and telekinesis.
And their mouths move.
Maybe
and they're, like,
he
yelling at
had
you.
enough self-awareness to realize if he took them directly to the house, they would run the hell away. Because, I mean, his little museum of Western whatever it was, it's creepy, but it's not. I mean, you see stuff like that. So it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's half of the Madame Tussauds.
Yeah, but if you took me to that house immediately, I'd be like, no, we got to go. We'll hitchhike to the next town or something. This is not happening.
Yeah. I mean, they could have walked out at any time. This guy's a big lumbering dude. Even with telekinesis, they could get away. And just walk.
Well,
they already walked. They already got
while
there
he
and
was
walked back.
walking and they were running, he was still always making up ground on them.
Yeah, because they were slipping all the time.
Fucking learn how to run.
Yeah,
I mean, just basic shit.
These people have never run a day in their life.
Apparently not.
No.
Because one of them ran for literally like 20 seconds and then like leaned up against a tree and like almost fainted. And I'm like, I am out of shape as fuck. I just had 3 cheese enchiladas and I can run for 15 seconds.
Now, I gotta say this though, Nate. To your point about the things screaming, they don't scream. They are singing beautifully. They are. I mean, this is T-Pain auto-tune levels of synth work by whoever the hell this music guy is.
Almost creepier.
Is it? I don't know, because I mean, I feel like he just has a wasted opportunity. He could be having the greatest. I mean, he is so far ahead of the game. He could totally have this whole like just music career. With
it's like he's wasting his talents in this tourist trap. He should be going out to the city like his brother used to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little less whoring around.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little more whoring around. Maybe
maybe then you feel better. Yeah.
You know,
But no one comes there anymore because of the highway.
Because of the highway.
Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this movie, as it were. Let's talk about the deaths of this movie. So there are 5 deaths, not counting the final scene, which we'll get to in a second. So we'll go kind of in order, but before we get into details, I'm just quick poll. What was your favorite death in this movie?
Telekinetic scarf strangling. No, well, shit.
Yeah,
so
no,
many. Oh god.
No, you picked yours.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
All right,
Plaster.
the plaster face.
Yeah, that's good.
I liked the first one, the first guy,
Woody?
Yeah, and it's a Reddit tidbit that when they're when all the stuff's flying out of the cabinet, to do that they actually screwed the cabinet to the ceiling, and then they had crew members above, and they were slowly dropping things so that it looked like it was flying out. At him. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think mine was Jerry's at the very right toward the end there, where he turns into he somehow he just forgot that he was already converted into.
No, I think he was a man. He got turned into a mannequin already while she was out, and then with his telekinesis, he made him look real to her, and then it stopped being real.
But when did that
seems
happen?
way too convoluted.
I think that's right.
That's right.
That makes the question. So it's not just telekinesis. It's telekinesis until you make you see shit that's not quite there. Isis.
I think that's it.
Yeah, because when he was dancing with that mannequin, she kept seeing like a real person.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was just because she was going.
I feel like you're giving the writers a lot more credit.
No, well, because
if you all seem to agree,
it's hard to give them less credit at this point in time.
To be fair, I really sort of checked out on caring at that point. So
I'm with you.
Okay, so let's get this. So let's talk about Woody. First off, Woody walks into a place that would be scarier if it didn't look like the entrance into every Spirit Halloween store across the country now. Because they're all just rocking back and forth. And I'm like, that is pretty much what you're greeted to at these Halloween pop-up stores now.
Maybe not in the 70s. Maybe it was more of a novelty.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, now that's all I could see. I was like, man, I thinking about for this Halloween party, I think I could get that one that's coming out of the cabinet.
So the whole point of him dying is he puts his arm. And his arm is getting grabbed, and then while his arm is grabbed by this very strong man, things are flying at him, right?
Right.
Why does the guy with telekinesis have to grab a guy's arm?
Well, he can only
he can't control that guy.
I don't know what the verb is.
Because he could have pulled his arm back out of the door and dove out of the way.
Yeah.
Telekineticized.
I tell you, it was like a Rube Goldberg machine. It was so convoluted the way he kills this guy. It makes no sense.
Yeah. What I did enjoy,
Or maybe you just want to hold someone's hand for a
well,
while.
what I really enjoyed too is he goes in that back room and the door closes, and then the window opens. And I said, when a mannequin closes a door, it opens a window.
and then it goes
And it immediately closes, and then it immediately shuts it. Like I didn't
That is the
in this whole scene.
When a mannequin closes the door, it opens a window and then jumps into the window.
And then again, this is the point in the movie where I literally said, I hope the sound guy got paid up front. Because
He did. He got
I
paid a
would be
lot up
so
front.
pissed.
Which was your favorite, Mitch? Or did you say?
I said it was
Well, and then I guess
Jerry.
the only
Okay.
other one is when Midge from that 70s show gets killed in the most hilarious fashion ever.
Becky with the tube top.
Because
Get it right.
Tube Top Becky.
I don't think he knows the reference at this
TTB.
point.
Apparently not. I'm not hip at all, but I know.
No, but she. So of course, in the major foreshadowing, the cowboy and Indian set up in the museum. The cowboy is shooting real bullets somehow right at her. She dodges it. Then all of a sudden, all right, the cowboy's had his turn. So then the Native American guy comes out, throws like a tomahawk at her, right? And then she misses, and she's like, "Oh, okay. Let me go run away now." That he threw the tomahawk. The mannequin robot Native American chief guy has time to reload to another tomahawk, and then hit her in the base of like the skull with the tomahawk.
Well, and the way they cut that scene, she
They
clearly.
let him reload.
The problem is she ran. Okay, so from a actual production perspective, she ran to her mark.
Yeah,
And then she turned to stop. And I think the point was they were supposed to cut it so that it was supposed to catch her as she was still kind of mid motion. The problem is they didn't edit it that way.
Yeah.
They kept in the part where she just stops with her back fully exposed.
Yeah, not the best escape.
It's just kind of like, did you freeze? It can't see me now. I don't. Why did you stop moving?
I just can't believe this robotic thing has a chance to reload throwing it.
I mean, remind you, reload, and we're talking very advanced.
Turning, because he turns from where the first one.
I was gonna say
It's like
that's AI technology that we barely have now.
Yeah,
like,
or did he guide it with telekinesis?
I guess he may have.
Maybe that was
but-
it.
Quick question: why didn't he just both hands have one? Does it need to actually throw only right-handed? Is he conscious about whether it is a right-handed or left? Would it really matter?
It's like, excuse me, miss.
I mean, I guess it's easier to telekinesticize it if it's only one hand instead of two.
If it's the same dominant hand.
Right. Otherwise, you're like double. Telekinesticizing.
The mannequin robot wasn't made lefty. Okay.
All right, so let's talk about your favorite murders. We talked about Becky dying. We talked about Woody. Let's talk about Eileen. So she goes into this house on her own.
Yeah.
Why? Who knows? And then
She
bored.
thought
She's bored. Like, that looks cool.
Well, no, I thought she thought that the guy that died and were they missing somebody else?
Woody. Well, he was the first guy.
I think she thought
they were
he was
dating.
there.
I think they were dating, weren't they? Those two.
Yeah.
no. So when she gets to this house, she hears someone saying Eileen.
Yeah,
and
that
follows it.
That was so creepy. In every scene where that Davey guy is, he's whispering their name every time, which is okay. So if you hear Lisa, come here, Lisa. Do you just keep walking in the room? Is that what you do?
Yes. Every time. I just
time,
keep
right?
walking in the room with the strange mannequins.
You're holding a scarf in front of you just in case. I got a scarf. What could go wrong?
and again, slowest.
She does
murder.
it. I assume it's something like when you put a frog. I'm assuming as a Louisiana person, you might know this better than me. But you put a frog in boiling water and you turn up the heat slowly, right? That's how you boil a frog.
You don't put a frog in boiling water. You put a
I know,
frog
and then
in
you- and then
normal
you turn
water,
it up
and
slowly.
then you turn
Yeah,
up the
exactly.
heat. There you go.
That is what happened with the scarf. So the scarf.
I like how
generally
y'all
came
knew
around.
this. I did not because I don't eat frogs. Thank you.
well.
I thought that the mannequin she stole the scarf from was going to attack her for stealing her scarf.
That would've been
That would
cooler.
have been cooler. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
It's just telekinesis, slow scarf strangling.
Yeah.
Not great.
And again, I mean,
But hilarious. Though, not great.
yeah. That's where you knew what you were really fully into in this movie. That may have been when I texted you and said, "What the hell am I watching?"
You're watching Kratos.
Okay, so now let's talk about the other really cool scene because I think there's a lot to talk about because there was a lot going on, and I titled this in my notes as "How to Make a Mannequin," and so we're introduced to Becky and Jerry. They've been hit over the head. They're tied up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Becky gets in a situation because mannequins fall on her, and we talked about that earlier. But let's just say it again.
Mannequin army kamikazes
they sing at her and then fall on top of her.
Now, okay, so what do you guys think about this mannequin workout? A mannequin head falls down, then it's on the ground, then it's turning, then its mouth's opening. I thought that was creepy. Is that...
That was
No, it was creepy.
Right? I mean, all of a sudden the mannequin head's just turning toward you, and then it's like,
David disagrees.
David disagrees.
I mean, fuck. That's my reaction to it. Like,
That is the noise that came out of David for the majority of the movie.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
okay.
This like the guy who did the music for this movie probably would have paid you to record that and put it in the movie.
You can make 1/6 of a student horror film's budget by just making those noises.
Yeah.
You already have an in with the director.
Okay, maybe a 12.
Okay. So they're in the basement, and then now they decide to have Davey come up and start talking to everyone in his weird, his worst Batman impression.
No, but he's got he puts on his classy mask. Like the slicked back hair. He's trying to be
it's time to
sassy.
party.
Yeah, it is time to party.
And then we meet this other girl who it doesn't matter because she's gonna die. And he just keeps telling her that she's so pretty.
Yeah.
So pretty. And begins to just plaster her face in what is the worst facial known to man.
Both the facial and the plastering. Just it doesn't sound right. There's something horribly wrong about
I
that.
stand by what I said.
Why is she heaving so much? What's happening? Oh my god.
Lowbrow humor.
Okay, so
And then the quote for that is the party's over.
yeah. So David, tell me. So you love this scene. What do you love about the scene so much?
It actually seems plus. I mean, other than his explanation for how things are going to go down.
You mean fear can't just stop your heart?
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, it seems like a very plausible way of killing a human being that actually sounds really, really painful
it's
and
disturbing.
terrifying.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're in that, like, you're slowly getting suffocated and it's burning your face. It's
And the guy's
great.
talking you through.
Oh, yeah,
it, like,
yeah.
even
Well,
And he's
more.
talking through this pseudoscience bullshit at the same time, which I would have been offended by. Like, no, motherfucker, I am
Like it actually feels cool at the end or whatever he's saying. all
yeah,
this
like
crap.
no,
Yeah.
I am burning alive and I can't breathe, and that's why I'm dying. Fuck you, but also props.
But yeah, the fact that they let
You become a prop.
but they kept the shot on her face. So props to what was probably the best actress in this movie. For the
Oh, by far, you're right.
Yeah, because she legitimately. I mean, that scene stood out because they kept that frame on. They didn't have to cut it or move it around to kind of hide anything. She truly, really had terror in her face.
And right when you get to her character is like giving up.
Yeah,
And she's like seems very in despair. Yeah, she was the best actress of the whole movie. The best actor and actress of the whole movie, probably. Shit.
Okay, but we were noticing. I don't think those ropes that had her tied down were that tight. I'm pretty sure I could have.
She had a single rope tying her waist. He
ties one rope, but then he telekinesis it to be real strong. maybe,
Oh my god!
maybe that was it. I don't know.
Okay, so next time we have any movie where there's telekinesis, we need to look up the proper verbiage for. I like what you said.
I don't think there is one.
TKing.
Telekinetic
TKing. I would say TKing.
Okay, so I mean this scene was intense. Now Becky and Jerry eventually break out and they make a attempt to leave, and they do what everyone in this whole fucking movie has done, which is split up
Yeah.
and not stay together. Okay.
But I did like the key when they thought they were gonna get free because she's like sliding the key and he's getting it there, and then the second he almost gets it, he telekinesis it or whatever across the floor. He's like, haha, that's my little party trick.
Did you guys notice that when Plasterface was talking, because this is kind of his monologue, like, you're so pretty, why don't people like me, we're partying, that whole thing. When he was talking, did you guys notice that he sounded almost exactly like Kevin from The Office?
No,
I wrote down a poor man's
He talks all slow and like
Batman and Kermit the Frog at random points.
Kevin from The Office, yeah.
I'd have to hear it again, but I'm sure you're right.
No, it's like spot on.
Sure,
it's
you're
actually
right.
creepy.
Truthfully, though, I got to tell you, it wasn't the worst party I've ever seen or been to. So, I mean, silver linings, right?
Wait, what is the worst party you've been to? Now I'm interested in that.
Then we'll save that one for.
Okay.
There's some other more horror
David's
themes.
here. David's here. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm actually laughing at how easy a softball that was if I wanted to take it, considering we've all been to Halloween parties in this house 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take that.
Well, you can't because you keep coming back.
I know.
That's right.
I'm a good guest.
I appreciate
Now,
that.
I like that when people were escaping, like all of a sudden, because then it's a tense scene. They're running away from this killer guy who's very lumbery, right? And then all of a sudden, this is when that Italian guy just starts throwing out the whimsical music. Like, that's when the chimes come out.
That's right.
And like I don't even know what instruments are playing.
He knows how to read a mood.
Yeah, it's like she's running
this guy
away.
knows how to take the temperature of the room and understand what how everyone's feeling.
She's running away, and it's like, dun, dun, dun,
terror?
Dun. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It goes like, dun, 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 dun. like harps are playing. Why? It doesn't make any sense. Maybe he was dating the harpist. I don't know. Something was happening.
That's why you don't get a sixth of a movie's budget allocated to you.
I guess. Yeah. Oh, that was so. Good.
Yeah. So he chases after Becky. Becky, at one point, I wrote just gave up, just straight up gives up on running. Like she just falls over, and then she just stops. She's like, all right, that's good enough.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's so crazy, like what happens to these people, right? So there's so many almost deaths too. So the Jerry guy is getting choke slammed at one point, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Right? I mean, he's getting choke slammed. Molly, the main character, she almost gets drowned. Like everyone is almost killed and then later killed. Like they had all kinds of chances. And they all end up going back to the house, always.
Yeah.
Well, I think Molly got knocked unconscious and got dragged back to the house.
No, but she went in the truck with Mr. Slauson to go back after getting chased by the masked version of him.
Right, but she didn't know at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, you go back to the place where the masked guy had just chased you. I mean, I don't care if it's a different person. You don't go back.
Look, this
there.
is the same chick that got in the truck in the first place at the beginning of the movie. They're not good decisions.
So let me.
That is true.
Okay, so let me ask you this. As we're getting to the end of the movie, we find out about the horn around and all that. So I get the idea why he killed
the horn around and all that.
I get why he killed his brother and wife because clearly the law states he can, and why not?
Yeah.
In whatever.
But why is he still making all these mannequins? Did we ever really find out like his motivation why
He wants friends.
He wants
because
friends.
the highway took them all away.
Yeah, and then basically what
Did he ever say he wants?
I never thought about that part.
then
That
he
makes
does-
sense.
That's when he does.
Okay,
That's when he has
okay.
the comedy routine / conversation with the mannequin trying to feed it food,
yeah.
and then the head falls off. He's like, wow.
He wants companionship.
I'm Kevin from the office. Wow.
Okay, I can buy that. I can buy
All
that.
right. So let's get into this final scene because it is nuts.
Yeah, sure.
It is straight up an LSD trip for most of it. So Molly wakes up in the attic. All these dolls are singing at her, or mannequins. I keep saying dolls, but they're mannequins.
Yeah.
And they're all singing at her.
Well, there were some dolls in the movie too. So I mean,
Jerry shows up with an axe, but then he becomes a mannequin himself. Gets his arm totally ripped off the socket and his head twisted off.
I wrote, what the fuck? Jerry is a mannequin already.
So when she wakes up in the bedroom and that mannequin brings her water or tea or whatever it is,
Oh my God.
that mannequin was the director's wife. She was supposed to have 2 lines in the movie.
Yeah, and got cut.
And he cut them, and she was pissed.
Oh my God.
Excuse
big
me.
break.
Excuse me. I got nominated for a student Oscar. I think I know how to cut a movie.
Right.
I almost spilled liquid all over this table.
Oh, the episode ended so much sooner now.
man.
I do have to say that because you just said that Jerry comes with the axe, that whole scene with them revealing he's actually a mannequin, I felt like that was the best twist.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a good twist. Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, because did he die from getting chokeslammed, or did he die from wounds sustained after he jumped directly through a window? Like the most glass shattering I've ever seen in
And
my
yet
life.
Becky somehow jumped out right after him with bare feet and didn't get cut at all.
Oh, she had some cut feet, but yeah, I mean, I think he might have just died in the woods after like stumbling away from jumping through the window. That was brutal.
So one thing I did notice in this final scene is that Molly at one point grabs a doll And this is the creepiest fucking doll I've ever seen. Did
Oh,
y'all
yeah.
see this weird ass doll? She is just like
I thought
hugging.
she was going to be on Slausen's side, like in that last scene where mannequin Jerry is like coming to supposedly rescue her. I thought she was almost going to like side with him because she like stayed there for a very long time.
That would have been a good ending to the
That
movie.
would have been
If she
awesome.
just flips her shit and goes
she-
like, you know what? I'm
then
now in love with you,
And then you
Mr.
see them
Slauson.
both playing with mannequins at the end, and that's like a fade out scene.
Stockholm syndrome.
There you go.
Yeah.
And now I'm bought into that movie.
Yeah.
But that's not what the fuck happened.
No, it's not. What did happen was she took the axe straight to Slausen's neck right after he has this weird trippy dance scene where his wife shows up.
Yeah.
Like he's dancing with the wife mannequin, and then she
It's kind of like
is a real person.
It's kind of like a Lisa Beauty and the Beast.
This is not a tale as old as time.
Turns
This is-
back in. When it goes there, it turns back into the person they're dancing, and then combine that with the void because then you put the axe in the person's.
Don't you dare put this movie and Beauty and the Beast in the same sentence.
Oh
Nate.
man.
You can put them in the same sentence with the void.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Spooky triangles, spooky dolls, like fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay, but then the end scene is so she puts the hatchet in Slausen's neck, gets away, pulls a great, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque, except instead of jumping in the car, she's driving the car, and she takes all of the mannequins that her friends have become and puts them in the car with her and is driving wildly down the road.
And you notice she is smiling from like ear to ear. She is like incredibly happy now
Just
that
like-
she has her mannequin friends and freedom, I guess.
So is this a sequel waiting to happen? Tourist Trap 2?
You should make it.
Molly and the Mannequins? What?
Molly and the Mannequins.
That is a band name and a half.
Yeah,
Molly
absolutely.
and the Tourist Trap
If I
2,
ever,
Molly and the Mannequins.
if I start an 80s cover band, it's Molly and the Mannequins.
Yeah, that's solid.
Wow. That's awesome.
Actually, if I start a death metal band, it may still be called Molly and the Mannequins.
Very
Well,
versatile.
especially if you got the rest of do kind of like Ghost BC does, where they all the rest of the band members just wear like they wear faceless masks. You get them to all wear these mannequin creepy ass
Except
masks. while
one,
they're playing.
the lead singer.
Yeah,
lady.
the lead singer.
Oh,
No, I was actually just thinking literally just call the band Molly and the Mannequins and have nothing to do with that. Just fucking show up in
Mitch is
board
going-
shorts and Hawaiian
Mitch is
shirts.
going full Slipknot.
I'm going
on this.
full Slipknot Ghost, all that, Mushroom Head, all of them. The send off there where they're driving off. It would just. I think the only thing that made it so corny and cheesy to me was that it literally just like I feel like they just like cut it and it just went straight to them driving off. Like there's no it was very quick. Like there was no like what do I do now? Like kind of like lead up kind of where she's kind of dealing with it and then it shows like a slip. It was just like he dies. They're driving off with everyone in the car.
Yeah, it's yet another movie where it feels like we ran out of budget to keep shooting intermediate scenes. So let's just fast forward to some part that we care about and let's just go.
But you know what, Mitch? It was the best part of the movie. You know why? Because it was the end.
Yeah.
Because she was with her friends. Oh.
Oh, friends forever.
Friends, literally. No,
She forgot
probably.
the other guy, though.
Well,
that's right.
The original guy, she's like, yeah, whatever. We weren't that close anyway.
They all forgot about him.
All the stuffing came out of him.
Oh my god! All right, is there anything else about this movie, Nate, that you want to bring up?
Thanks for asking. Just me. No.
I'm going to ask everyone, but I'm starting with you.
We covered it. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought that Plaster face was pretty unique, and he was real creepy. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I guess I really wish we could got just any backstory about this telekinesis. That would have pushed it real high for me. If we could just gotten, he was in the army. That was it. That's all we got. I was in the army. Okay.
Mind you, even if they didn't give you a backstory, to your point, if instead of diluting it through the whole movie, it would just come in at a critical moment.
Like all of a sudden,
you're
at the
like,
end,
oh shit, motherfucker can move things.
Yeah, you just like Darth Vader kind of freeze somebody at some point.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could have bought. Yeah.
Oh well.
Lisa, anything else?
Yeah,
about
I
this
did
movie?
like the. I'm assuming it was an homage to Psycho when he's sitting in the living room and I don't know that he's throwing his voice, but he's having his mom mannequin scold him and stuff.
And he's in a chair, like a rocking chair too.
Yeah, she's in the rocking. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
he has the rocking chair.
That's
Her
good.
moving,
Yeah.
and he's just sitting there. Yeah, that was.
I guess
that was
one
a
other
good
thing I'd
scene.
say is that when he puts when the facial's happening, as Mitch would put it, he says, "It'll be quick, but it won't be easy."
Wow.
Well,
That's a pretty good quote.
As any good facial would be.
Oh,
David, any final thoughts on this film?
I literally have nothing. Like this movie deserves nothing else from me.
Well, then let's move in because I have a question, or one final question, I guess, for each of y'all. What would you have done differently?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Lisa, what do you do differently?
So I'm going to go do this tomorrow. I'm going to make sure that my spare tire has air in it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put a tool bag in my car.
Yeah.
I'm going to be prepared in case I break down on the side of the road.
Don't drive a Jeep from like 1938 also is probably
Fair. Good.
That's real smart.
Yeah.
Good. David, how about you?
Basic rule of survival, stay put. Just if something bad happens and you're not in any sort of distress yourself, don't go into the middle of, I don't know what state this was filmed in, but let's assume is most of the states in this country. If you're in the middle of nowhere, don't venture out into the middle of nowhere. Stay by the side of the freeway. Raise your arms, wait to see if someone stops and, helps you out. Stay put.
I mean, he said people were coming on that freeway constantly, so someone's going to come by.
This is what I always cite, back in the day when, and I say back in the day because I'm old as shit now, but, Bear Grylls versus Survivor Man. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever watched both. Bear Grylls would go drink deer piss and climb up waterfalls, and Survivor Man would literally sit in one spot for a week at a time. Yeah. And it's demonstratively better to just sit in one fucking spot and survive than to go like squeeze elephant dung for the water content.
Yeah. Man. So mine was going to be stay on the highway, but that's too close. So I'll mix it up and I'll say, what would I do differently is maybe do some running here and there before any trip. Maybe get in a little bit of better shape.
Just build up the cardio.
Even if you're going on a car trip, maybe just do that zombie land. Just kind of keep that cardio up just a little bit so you can get away. Every character had a chance to use moderate running abilities to not die this movie.
No.
And I look at them and I'm like, you are all in better shape than I am.
Like young, hot teens who apparently go missing all the time, according to this movie.
Because they're looking for
middle-aged, overweight dudes apparently don't go missing all the time. So I figured something out about life.
Yeah, you're safe to be.
So just run like a normal human.
Yeah.
That would I would have done differently.
Yeah, I think... have you all seen the movie Heavyweights?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so Lisa has a
fantastic
movie with Ben Stiller.
I have seen it. Okay,
with the fat kids at camp. Yeah. I think they said it best. You got to go with the body system. You find you a friend.
You say the body system or the buddy system?
Or the buddy system.
Yeah,
but it's the way the guy
says
it.
it's a German guy. He calls it the body system and he starts yelling at the kids.
Oh, okay. I was like,
people
what
have
is
seen,
happening right now?
I'm the foreign one. They can't pronounce shit.
I'll put the drop on here so our listeners will understand if they haven't seen it. But no, have the buddy system. Have a friend. Everyone splits up way too damn much. Just, I'm sorry you don't want to go in the creepy house, but you're coming with me because I'm going in the creepy house looking for a friend.
Molly should have been that friend. She's like, no, fuck that.
Well, I know, exactly.
I'm staying put.
No. I'm sorry. If I'm Molly, I grab that bitch. It's like, oh no, it will be fun to go in here. You grab that bitch by an arm and then you drag that bitch away.
And that's an effective use of the buddy system. And that's
exactly. That still constitutes buddy system.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So awards. Nate, what award would you get?
I got most worthless friend, Molly. She is just totally worthless. And then I guess as a runner-up, I have the class act award for Davey with the slick back hair.
Nice.
Because at least he tried to class it up for the party. It didn't really work, but at least he tried.
Nice. Lisa.
I got best mannequins, and it's that scene where they're trying to get past him in the hall. And he comes out and they literally just freeze.
Yeah. The guy who works with mannequins.
Don't move.
The guy who works with mannequins his whole life can't tell a person.
He won't notice.
Yeah, no, sorry. To piggyback on yours, I gave worst mannequin award to Becky because Becky, he's standing right there, literally looking at her, and she is moving. Yeah. She is very visibly not standing still.
So Jerry did a better job is what you're saying.
Yeah, Jerry was fine. Becky was the worst.
What do you think about that, Lisa? What do you think? Well, you gave the award for mannequinning, but then,
they're quick on that was the first time any of them were quick on their feet. They were like, let's just stop
that's
moving.
true. That's true.
Then I will give a runner-up award.
Yeah.
For we're gonna stick with the worst category because I feel like that's the only appropriate sort of category to give for anything in this movie. Worst mannequin making had to have gone to Mr. Whatever his name is, Lawson.
They're so lifelike.
Because that plaster, when he's caking it on what's her face, it is so thick and so like lumpy. I mean, no wonder all of his mannequins look like shit and his brothers were good because it needs to be a lot smoother. You need to mix that shit a little bit more before you're just slapping it on there.
He's gonna chisel it down.
And I mean, he's just like smearing it over like it's goo. It's bad.
He can't do facials right. It's
no,
not his fault.
Get better at doing facials. David, how about you? What award?
Worst significant other, Eileen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You send your boyfriend down the road to like literally dragging a tire for God knows how many miles.
Yeah.
And then when your friends show up in the truck, you're like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. He's an idiot.
He's somewhere.
Yeah, he's somewhere. He'll figure it out.
I thought when he was rolling the tire down the road, this was like a Rubber prequel. Like the tire just keeps rolling.
Would have been better.
It would have been awesome.
Would have been better. All right. Well, that'll lead us to my favorite section.
Final cut.
Guys, I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. There's only one way to describe this movie. Terrible. I've really tried not to swing too far one way or the other on the pendulum when rating. I can't.
It's an omen. This is an omen.
2 out of 10 pipes to the back. It was bad, and I'm usually fine with bad horror movies.
Yeah.
I usually find something to enjoy, but I did not enjoy much of anything about this film. David is our.
What did I give The Void?
You gave it. You was pretty low.
2 or 3.
It was between 2 and 4. It was.
I think it was a 2, so I'm gonna give this 1 out of 10 water moccasins.
Wow, 1 out of 10. Holy shit.
Lisa.
I'm going to give this 1 out of 10 severed mannequin heads.
My God.
Oh my God. Right.
Man.
Well, it is averaging.
I'm gonna raise the
1.5.
I'm gonna raise the average.
All right.
I give it 6 out of 10
What?
anti-highway.
How?
I'm telling you, I thought it was very creepy. I liked the masks. I liked the mannequins. I liked the dolls. I loved the music being so weird.
That's the problem with this, though, because it could have been an amazing movie. The premise and everything was great.
Let's slow the fuck down with that. It could have been an amazing. No. It could have been a passable movie, maybe.
Well, but I mean, the idea of the mannequins and him having the telekinesis and all that stuff, I think is a good idea. But
that's still like 7 ideas together too much. You can make it creepy without telekinesis. Telekinesis
that's true.
Extra.
I think I liked, even though I admit it's very flawed. I found the silver linings of all kind of the ideas kind of work for me a little more. I think that's what it is.
Look, this movie did have potential, but it's like the saying goes, if my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle. And in this case, this is the movie we got. Doesn't matter what could have been.
Which one of them are whoring right now?
Well, I don't know. If any of my family ever has a wax museum, quote unquote museum, I'll let you know. I guess we'll know that way. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Nate, where can they vehemently agree with all of us and rage against your movie selection this week?
Oh God, no! You can find us on Twitter at TX Pod Massacre. We're posting kind of funny news articles. We have horror haiku, different stuff we're posting on there. You can find us on our YouTube channel where we're putting out videos based on some of the kind of the parody songs that we're making based on all the movies we're selecting. You can find us at texaspodmassacre.com. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, basically everywhere you can get podcasts. Tell your friends if you like the podcast. We're getting people from kind of all over the world at this point, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
And, so hi everybody.
Yes, hi people. That person in Japan and Germany who
bonjour.
Bonjour. Thanks everyone for listening, and if you have any comments or questions, let us know.
Yep. And David, thank you once again for joining us. I promise one day we'll pick a good movie.
I was going to say, mind you, I'm not even that offended by it. It's just that every time you make me want to watch it, you make me watch one of these shitty movies, my wife has to watch them with me. And
She's the real victim.
By the way, the message she has for the two of you is that you can all go suck dick. Literally what you
She
said.
needs to be on the show next time.
Yeah, I did. She would love to, but again, she's taking care of 4 puppies right
She's
now.
staying home and letting you
Rude.
venture out.
Oh no, I've been getting texts about how one of the dog that we're fostering right now is destroying our entire house. So
Fantastic.
It's lovely.
All right, well, we're going to let you get back to that. Thank you, everyone, for listening and for tuning in. Again, as Nate said, make sure to tell your friends. For all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.